Gary.
Hey Kylie. I just want to take a quick step out and point out, did you happen to notice the artwork on the wall?
Yes, very nice. It's Liz, isn't it?
It is Liz, yeah, it's not me.
That's lovely.
There's no keyboard associated with that production, so it's not me.
No, it's beautiful. I mean, she's got so much lovely art around the house.
Yes. And we take commissions as well. So yeah, if you absolutely, it's not enough that she does everything around the house. She should also be, padding out my requirements for a new Merc. So yeah, if you do want to have some equivalent art like this in your house, then by all means get in touch.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great stuff. So this month we're talking about the reporting process.
Yeah, so this is really important, isn't it?
Oh God, it's like the USB to Sam and ITAM as far as I'm concerned. That's the way I view it anyway.
Yeah, and if we think about our management system, our IT asset management system, producing outcomes, which is the value that we're receiving, the reporting process, I think, is absolutely critical in producing quite a lot of value, because we're providing lots of information to our stakeholders to help them make decisions, but also it's assessing our own what we're doing as well.
Yeah.
So the reporting process is just so critical in terms of making sure that we have a grip over everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and I think it gives us the ability to assess true value, because it's not just a case of every man and his dog coming to the SAM or ITAM department and saying, give me this report or give me that report. It's worth putting the brakes on that and just saying, what do you want it for or why? Rather than just because it can be provided, it's because it satisfies a requirement, and that will take care of a lot of the chin rubbers and teeth suckers.
Yeah.
And some of it may be temporary or transient, and will be for a certain period of time, a week or a month or whatever. But there could be some more long running requirements that will need to be honoured, that is worth investing in, potentially bespoke SQL reports or God knows what else. And a degree of automation just to sort of spit this thing out on a systematic fashion. Yeah.
So I think the processes that drive the reporting process are very much the governance. It's very much a governance one. Our SAM plan will be saying that we need to be providing or driving certain outcomes. So we both need to measure the outcomes through the reporting process, but also, like I said, the reporting process itself, by engaging with stakeholders and giving them the management information they need to then go and create value within their part of the organisation, is also something that comes out of this process.
Yeah.
And then we've also got things that are coming out of other processes, like the risk management process might drive some regular reporting. The request fulfillment process might drive some regular reporting. So there's all sorts of, so basically, the reporting has to happen at all sorts of different levels and for all sorts of different people, for all sorts of different purposes. So I think a really important, and we start this process by saying you have to engage your stakeholders. So you have to go out and proactively say to people, what is it that you want? What information do you need from us to help you do whatever it is that you need to do? And I think that's where it starts. And then that actually can be a really great way of driving some really proactive conversations and getting people on your side, that they will then become your supporters later on and help you achieve what you need to achieve.
Particularly if they are data owners as well.
Yeah.
If they want, we're going back to the orphan data process, if they want their data to interact with other data that you can potentially provide that interaction around, then all of a sudden it becomes a how can I help you conversation, not a I need your help conversation. Yeah.
And as you mentioned earlier, this process really needs to drive automation where possible. We don't want to be spending hours and hours and hours producing reports that we could be automating.
Yeah, so if there's that ability off the back of any products to provide dashboards, and again, this touches on our lean and FinOps chat that we had previously too,
right.
Is that the cycle of change in the cloud and generally within IT is getting quicker and quicker. So the shelf life of any reporting is getting shorter and shorter. So if you can automate, if you can put in front of screens, etc., to help sort of speed those fleet of foot decisions that need to be made, do it. Do it. That's the way to go. Don't be wasting time on Excel, PDF.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the reporting process is another one where we need to be conscious of good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, reports don't need to be necessarily 100% accurate to be useful. So just as we discussed with the data verification process, think about what is going to be done with your report and just make sure that it's good enough, not that it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing to think about.
And I think too, you're leaning towards whether reports are for information or for action also. So that's another thing. Be aware that the business could sort of indirectly look at Samurai Item and say, we were expecting you to act as governors for a given report, therefore why haven't you driven change or improvement? So if that's something you have to inherit, make sure that you understand that you are inheriting, and make sure it's crystal clear. It's not, you know, necessarily down to the requester to drive that. They could just be the instigators of the report. So just watch out there. They could be trying to catch you out.
Have you ever come across the DIKW hierarchy?
Off the top of my head, no, it doesn't ring a bell.
Data, information, knowledge and wisdom.
Ooh.
So we deal with, so in ITAM we consume a lot of data, and a lot of that data is stuff that we don't generate. So we're not really the data owners, but we're just pulling in that data, and then we're manipulating that data to produce information. And this is where what a lot of our reports are doing. They are taking data that's been created elsewhere and churning them through a process or a procedure to produce information that then somebody can apply their own smarts to, which is knowledge, and then they use the knowledge to make decisions, which is and by applying wisdom. So actually, as IT asset managers, we sit squarely in the middle of that DIKW hierarchy. We're not really generating a load of data. We're consuming data that somebody else has generated, but we're taking that data and we're producing information, and then we'll be applying our own knowledge. So, for instance, licensing knowledge or our our knowledge of the organisation to then produce something that's got a greater depth to it, that then decision makers will use, and they'll apply their wisdom to make decisions. So I think if we think about this process, and our job is very squarely within the information and the knowledge, then that actually can be really quite useful, because too often we think of ourselves as being stuck with data. We're really focused on data because we know we need trustworthy and accurate data to drive value, but actually we don't create that data. All we're doing is identifying when there's a problem with it. But it's the reporting process that converts that data to information, and then we apply our own knowledge to take it to the next level to turn it into knowledge. And that knowledge is, we need to refresh 25% of our machines this year because it's going to cost X, Y, and Z. That's that extra level of depth that then allows somebody to say, no, actually, it's more important that we save money this year, so we're not going to refresh 25% of our estate. We're going to sweat it.
Yeah.
And that's all coming from this process.
Yeah. Isn't it great?
Yeah. So the other thing of it is, we talk about engaging stakeholders to define a standard set of processes, but I think the other thing that we have in here is the ability for people to ask us to run ad hoc reports as well. So coming in, so think about how you manage those ad hoc requests, and the best way of doing it is going out and being really proactive and talking to stakeholders and saying, what standard reports do you need, because that will reduce the number of ad hoc requests coming in. But you'll always have ad hoc requests coming in, so think about how you want to receive those requests and how you want to handle them.
Yeah. Top tip there would be to reach out to the programs or projects office as well, because they will be working with IT as part of their requirements to onboard new services and new initiatives. So you get foresight of that then. If you're reporting on architectural schemas, pricing, versions, additions, software that contributes, hardware that contributes, etc., then it won't be such a culture shock when that stuff goes BAU as well, because you'll have had foresight of it. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's it for the reporting process. It's really, really important.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have one other thing. So I have a really strong principle that I try and apply. I often fail, but I try and apply it. If somebody's not doing something or taking an action off the back of my reports, stop it. Just stop. You shouldn't be running them. There's no point. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, and escalate. Yeah, because you don't just want to be that cul-de-sac that just sort of says, I'm stopping the reports, that's it. You need to be sort of reporting up to say, no, I've stopped doing these reports because of.
Well, no, I mean, there is a time-honoured way of doing that, which is just stop the reports and see who complains.
Or that, yeah.
So, you know, only escalate if you feel you really need to. But fundamentally, if somebody is not taking action off the back of your reports, just stop running them, because it's a waste of your time.
Yeah.
You've got better things to be doing. Anyway, that's it, I think.
I think so.
Great.
Till next month.
Yep.